Good afternoon. Oh my God. I know it's been a very long time. I didn't mean to take such a long break, but then it just happened. So, welcome back to the Ask Dr. Renee show. Yes, we have not had a show since July of 2021, but I'm back. And hopefully I'll be able to keep it up. We'll see. But today is really special because guess what? I'm not hosting today. Today we have a special host. Her name is Elena, and Elena is 13 in the 8th grade. She has an amazing blog called Elena Reads, and she reads books of diversity. So it could be Black people are featured in it, could be trans people, it could be Latino people, just diverse characters are in the books. Well, needless to say, I've written a few books that happen to have some diverse characters, and she actually has read my books. So she's going to interview me, and you guys be kind. Make sure you share this, like it, comment, and subscribe to her blog. I'm going to put the blog link up so you can subscribe to her blog. Okay? Thank you so much, guys. And here we go. Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you doing?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing good too.
Awesome. Take it away. The floor is yours.
So as you heard, my name is Elena and I'm a blogger for Elena Reads. That's my website. And I review diverse children's books and interview authors. And I'm excited to interview Dr. Renee today. So let's get started. So I'm sure that many of us know that you are a blogger, influencer, and now a published author. But what's something that the viewers may not know about you?
So, what they may not know about me, although if you follow me on Instagram, you saw recently we saw a fabulous documentary about Janet Jackson, and I posted a picture. I actually used to dance competitively, I sang competitively, and I also acted.
That's so cool.
So, I am a triple threat.
Obviously, much of your brand focuses on answering questions on a variety of topics from a doctor's perspective. When did you discover you wanted to become a doctor?
So, since you read Mommy, I Can't Breathe, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I was a sick kid my whole life. And in kindergarten, as you read in the book, we went to my friend Julie Wilson, whom I must make sure she's watching today. Julie Wilson, we went to her dad's OBGYN's office. Dr. Richard Wilson, may he rest in peace. It was my brownie troop that went, and I know that you are very familiar with the Girl Scouts yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, so my brownie troop went to visit his doctor's office, and he was an OBGYN. And
Mm-hmm.
he did an ultrasound on one of the brownies. And I don't know, but for some reason that day I was like, oh my God, this is it. Now, like I said, I grew up in hospitals because of my asthma. So I just knew I wanted to be a doctor because I was always in the hospital, and
Yeah.
I was good at I kind of knew I kind of could understand science and math even at a young age. I knew. So I wanted to be a doctor, but that day I said, oh, I want to deliver babies. Like, this is it. And I was
Mm-hmm.
5, and I was like, this is what I want to do. And that's what started it. Now, my mom also, well, she was a respiratory therapist, so she worked in the hospital. So I spent a lot of time in hospitals between being sick, and then we would go to work with my mom sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just kind of my thing. I was comfortable at hospitals.
That's great. So recently you published your book, Mommy, I Can't Breathe, and that's about your experience with asthma, and it also contains advice for parents. In a nutshell, how has your experience with asthma shaped you into who you are today?
I think, wow, that's a good question. I think that I don't know. I think because like I said, the whole hospital thing, I don't have any problems with hospitals, which I think a lot of people have trouble, even if they're visiting. There's, nervous Nelly. I don't have that problem. What else? I think that I always just, because there was so many things I couldn't do because I couldn't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I can breathe, I live very differently, and I do a whole lot of things that I would never do because I just had such trouble breathing. There was like you read in the book, I ran a 5K, I ran several 5Ks, several 10Ks, I did a half, and I would have never ever imagined, but because my asthma was so horrible, it was just a miracle that I could do that, and I was just so excited that I could. Um what else? And I think that because of the amazing people that took care of me, Dr. Marva Morris, may she rest in peace. She was my allergist slash pediatrician, basically my entire childhood, and she was the first Black doctor I ever met. Was
Wow.
her, yeah, and she was a woman, so it's pretty amazing, right? And
Mhm.
to meet her at such a young age, not everyone's that privileged, but I think that I knew I could be a doctor because I saw her. And I was
Mhm.
like, okay. I mean, my mom worked in hospitals, but my doctor was a Black woman, and I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. And I'm glad before she died, we did get to meet and talk, and see each other again and talk, and she knew that I did become a doctor and all of that stuff. But I think that even though I don't treat patients, I think that my whole bedside manner I take from her. So my explanations of medicine and different things in, my show on blackdoctor.org, and the different columns that I've written about medicine and stuff. I think that I take that from the people that treated me. They explained me to me, and I could understand what was going on with me in my lungs. Um, and so I understood that it's important for people to understand what's happening to them and why. And so that's kind of been my whole mission with medicine for me, instead of treating patients individually in an office, is to educate the masses on their health, because unfortunately, doctors are extremely busy. They don't have a lot of time with the patient. So you end up leaving and you have so many questions. You don't understand what's what and why this and why do I have to take that? Well, that's where I come in. My show Out
Mhm.
of Office with Dr. Renee is in the waiting rooms of doctors' offices. And my show actually goes into depth on a lot of things that you might wanted to know before you went into the doctor's appointment. And so, I think that, my journey just kind of led me to all of this.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you.
Mm.
Another book that you published is a book about growing up with allergies, and I was shocked to know that there were a lot of things that you were allergic to. I'm one of those people who does not have any allergies that I know of, but it was interesting to know that there are a lot more allergies than just peanuts and dairy.
Yeah.
There are a lot more. And
Yeah.
what is it like to live with allergies? And what is your number one tip to people who are in your situation?
Um, for me, because this is the only way I know how to live, it's not a big deal. It's so
Hmm.
simple because this is the only way that I know. I don't know another way. This is it. So, um, and then people with allergies, I think that the biggest thing is advocate for yourself. Understand that not everyone has food allergies, so you cannot go around expecting people to cater to your allergies. It is
Hmm.
amazing and a blessing when you have people like that. I have, close family friends that, I visited their house every New Year's Eve. The Moo Youngs always made sure that I could eat, and they made sure I was safe because they knew I was allergic to seafood, and they have crab legs every New Year's Eve. They made
Hmm.
sure it was cooked well before I came because I'm allergic to the smell of seafood cooking, which not everyone is, but I am. Um, Plus I can't eat them. So they made sure that, and everyone in the house understood the reason I'm sitting over here like this is because you're eating crab legs and I'm trying not to get sick. And
Hmm.
knock on wood, I've never been sick at their house on New Year's Eve. I mean, New Year's Day. And then my dear friend Angela Brooks, who every time she has me over, she makes sure that she always makes gumbo. She has a gumbo that I can eat in one room, and the other gumbo is in another room or across the room, so there's no chance of the spoons crossing or anything. So if you have
Hmm.
food allergies, these are kind of things you need to pay attention and make sure. And if you don't know, let me tell you, the best thing to do is just don't eat.
Yeah.
And if you ask questions and the person that answers the questions looks a little confused, don't eat. Because if they are not sure could get you sick and you don't want to be sick. So just, and for me, my asthma and is part of my allergy. So if I get ingest or smell seafood cooking or eat seafood, I will start to wheeze and have an asthma attack. So
Hmm.
for the reason that I like to breathe, I just, a lot of times I just say I won't eat, or you guys carry snacks or eat before you come. But just know that if you didn't ask or didn't tell them, or you have no idea, then you might be hungry.
Hmm.
And I think, and the reason why I wrote the book is The food allergy book, for kids, is because I heard about the bullying situations with kids with food allergies. It just blew my mind. And so that's why I wanted to write that. But the first book I wrote because I wanted parents to know their kids can live really normal lives. I've lived in several countries. I've traveled to a lot of countries, and I've eaten every place I've gone. I do not travel with food. The only time I traveled with food is when I lived outside of the United States, and there were certain things that I like to eat that they just didn't have. But that
Mhm.
was anybody. That wasn't just because I have food allergies. That was everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't travel with food, but I'm hearing about people having to bring food. You don't have to bring food when you travel. You just have to act smartly
Yeah.
and, pay attention. And if you do that, I lived on an island for 2 years, the home of seafood. And guess what? I never got sick.
Yeah.
And I ate in my house, but I also ate in restaurants. Never
Mhm.
got sick. So if I can do that, then anyone can. And that was my whole thing, was that you just have to be really smart about it. And if your child has food allergies, which is why I wrote the book, you need to just let them know early on. When you find out, you need to let them know. I don't care if they're 1, 2, 3. You need to let them know. And if you keep telling them, they'll know, and they will be able to take care of themselves. You don't have to be worried about the class trip to DC and you live in
Mhm.
Michigan in 8th grade. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it because you've already, you've empowered them with the information, and they know. My sister wasn't allergic and I was, and we would take trips without my parents. And my parents were never worried because they knew that even at 12 and quickly 9, my sister 9 and I'm 12, we knew what I was allergic to, what I couldn't eat.
Mhm.
So you just have to really make sure that the kids know, and then let them go. They'll be fine.
Yeah. You mentioned that like kids have been bullied because of their food allergies. Were you ever in that situation?
I honestly wasn't, but
That's good.
I was the only black child in most of my classes when I was little, so that was really the bigger issue than the food
Yeah.
allergies. So, no, I was never bullied about my food allergies at all, and I really was like the only person with them too. So, no.
Yeah. Um, and coming back to your book, I thought it was cute that you included your relatives' names in the book. Why did you want to do that?
So I have a lot of little cousins, and
Mhm.
perhaps they'll show up in other books, but these two are two of my peeps. Like Shia. Shia is actually 10 years old. But
Mhm.
she has a phone and she texts me. Shia lives in California. She texts me. You know Shia. She was on with you when you came on my show. Shia
Mhm.
sends me text messages, and so Shia, she'll randomly check on me and stuff. So that's my girl. And and then Ashton, oh my goodness. So even though Ashton lives so far, because Ashton lives in the islands, um, Ashton and I are tighter than two peas in a pod. Like, his father, he made me a promise when Ashton was born that we were going to be tight, and he kept that promise. And I think
Mhm.
it's between them coming to the States and me going to the islands. And then we did some vacations together too. And so Ashton, he knows me. Like, that's my boy. He knows me. I went to Ashton's first golf tournament that was in the United States. I was
Mhm.
there cheering him on. I was the only one outside of his parents and his dad. I was there cheering him on. So that's my buddy. And Ashton is 5. So
Oh.
I just thought, it would be cool to put them in the book.
Mhm.
And one day I'm gonna get the video edited and it'll be posted. But to see their reactions, because they had no idea, their parents, of course, knew. To see their
Mhm.
reactions, they were so shocked because they actually watched a video of me reading the book, and
Mhm.
I'm watching them watch it, and they heard their names. They're like, "Wait a minute." It was so cute. It was so funny. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's why I put them in there.
Yeah. Why do you think it was so important for you to write these books?
Because so many people have allergies now. Like I said, I
Mhm.
was always the only, like, in my family, really, especially on my dad's side, which is where Ashton and Shia are Matthews. They, I'm the only, like, no one really has allergies like this. On my mom's side, though, where I kind of got them from, other people do. Although in my generation, I'm the only one. So,
Mhm.
like my uncle and my aunts and my great uncle, they have food allergies. My mom too, but no one has as many as I do. And
Mhm.
none of my cousins, like my first cousins, nobody else, my sister's not allergic. It's just me.
Yeah.
So, but for now, now they've got allergy-free preschools, and they've got rules at the elementary schools. You can't bring cupcakes for birthday. All the they didn't have that when I was a kid because it wasn't common. Now it's so common that I felt like this is something that needs to be talked about.
Mhm.
Also, as I mentioned before, the parents, I just really want them to understand their kids will be normal.
Yeah.
I like I said, my I ate street food in most of the places in the islands I go to. I eat street food, and I have, knock on wood, have never gotten sick.
Mhm.
Never. Because I first of all, I know better, and I know that they don't use peanut oil like they do in the South here, and and they don't use soy oil like they do at certain places here. And so I know that, and so I don't worry about it. Um, and I mean, as adult, I've traveled overseas, but as a kid, I went to the islands too, and
Mhm.
I didn't have a problem. So I just wanted parents to really understand that it's going to be okay. The other thing that I did not realize, so much so until after I wrote the books and published the books, was that apparently Black people and brown people are really kind of not in the conversation when it comes to allergies and food allergies. And I was like,
Mhm.
well, that's really crazy because I know lots of people that look like me that have food allergies now, but
Yeah.
for whatever reason, they really weren't in the conversation. Now, with asthma, the numbers are really horrible for Black
Mhm.
people as far as dying from asthma attacks, not being treated properly. It's just awful.
Mhm.
Awful. So, that was another reason that like I said, I'm learning after the fact that it's really important that I talk about. And if you saw in the book, half of the book is my story, but the other half is very, very medical. And I talk about asthma and allergies and all the things you can do and different treatments and stuff. So I really, really, really wanted to help that. And I actually did receive an award for a mobile van that gives asthma treatment, and they're in Chicago, and they go to neighborhoods that don't have doctors necessarily nearby, and they treat asthma patients, and they really try to treat children. So no, even when I started working with them, I just didn't realize how big of a problem it was.
Mhm.
I knew asthma happened a lot because of you probably didn't know, but asthma actually happens a lot because of the roach dander. It's like the stuff roaches give off. So if you live in, uh high rise or whatever you want to call it, and it's a multi-unit building, and it's very old, and it's in the in the urban community, and then this is some place that Black children were getting asthma and people didn't realize. So,
Mhm.
um, and so it was kind of important to kind of, shine a light on that. And I didn't even realize that it was important to do that, but I'm glad that I was able to do that. And I don't know if I sent you the link, but me and my sister, we have a show. And look, if I'm fancy, I might be able to pull up a video. We'll see. But my sister and I have a show on online. It's a cooking show, and we
Mhm.
cook allergy friendly foods. So we make things that, like French toast is a perfect example. We made French toast without eggs.
Mhm.
We made brownies without chocolate.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So we made some really cool stuff. I'm really excited, very proud of it, and I'm very proud of it. It it came out so good. But me and my sister's a trained chef, foodie engineer, Chef Alicia Nicole, and so we did this little thing, and it's kind of cool. I'm very excited,
Mhm.
um and that is also showing showcasing I'm a Black woman with food allergies, and I'm a doctor, and I want you guys to see that this could happen to you too. But you can eat pancakes and da 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 da. This is how you can
Yeah.
eat them because
That's
I'm
really
allergic to eggs,
cool.
as you've read in the book. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's really cool. I think people will really enjoy seeing like all these different ways they can make certain foods without like having allergies, like with having allergies.
Okay, hold on one second. I found the video. I'm going to try and play
Mm-hmm.
it. Hi, I'm Dr. Renee. This is my lovely younger sister, Chef Alicia Nicole. You see how little she is too, right? I'm also allergic to chocolate. Don't let it burn.
It's much thicker.
So yes, FAIR partnered with us, Food Allergy Research Education. I'm so grateful to them because they're the ones that edited it and made it all look so fancy, and so I'm excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, since you are a published writer, I am guessing that you enjoy reading too.
So the funniest thing, when I was your age, I was always in books because I couldn't do sports because of this whole asthma thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
was a nerd. I was into my books. I read the Babysitters Club. I wanted to have a Babysitters Club. I read them from the front to the back. Ramona Quimby, age 8. I read all of the Ramona Quimby books. Judy
Mm-hmm.
Blume. So I loved reading. And then high school came and I didn't have time for reading. And so I hadn't read a book in, oh my God, forever. And I get to college and I took this women in literature class. And it was the first time I read a book without, like, all I was doing was reading Cliff Notes in high school because I just like, I ain't got time for this. And I read I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. That was the first book I had read since like 13.
Wow.
And it was phenomenal, obviously, because it was Maya Angelou, but blew me away. So now as an adult, because of the life I live and being, I'm on if I'm not working out, then I'm on my computer. And so I do audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
So I read quite a few books in the last year and a half or so because I do audiobooks.
Yeah. What are some of your favorites?
So I will tell you, I am not one for fiction. Like, I read nonfiction because I just feel like I need all the motivation in the world to get my life right.
Mm-hmm.
So one book that I keep going back to is Yvonne Orji's book, and it's called Bamboozled by Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I bet you I have the title wrong. I know the bamboozled part is right, but it is so good. Oh my God, the book is amazing. And then I'm trying to think. Yes, I'm right. Bamboozled by Jesus. What else? Okay, so currently I am reading the series. There's a lovely show on Netflix that I told your mother to watch, Sweet Magnolias. It's based on a book series called I don't know what the series is called, but Cheryl Woods is the author, and it's 11 books. So I'm on the second one. And that's fiction. And that is, like I said, the first. I don't do fiction much, but I did this fiction. Yvonne's is probably the only book that I go back to all the time. What else did I read? Oh, Rick Ross. I read both of his books. One he wrote during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Very good book. That one has like business tips. Like, it's like 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. But the first one, it kind of tells you his story. And oh my God, I tell everyone I don't know this new hippity hoppity music. I'm an old lady. So I didn't know. I know who he is. I'd know him if he passed me on the street, but I didn't know about him except for he was
Mm-hmm.
from Florida. No, this man it was so interesting to hear about how he bought his house and did smart man. Like I said, I would
Mm-hmm.
have no idea. Very good book, smart man. I have to look at my little Audible thing to tell you books that I really, really, really liked. Um, 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 um. Michelle Williams' book, Checking In. Michelle Williams was a guest on the Ask Dr. Renee show, and she wrote a book, Checking In. Excellent book. Excellent book. Oh, there was a movie Kevin Hart did, and of course, now I can't tell you what the name of the movie is. I wonder, does it say it on here? But the book is called Two Kisses for Maddie. The book is the movie was on Netflix. Fatherhood. That's the name of the movie. Two Kisses for Maddie. Excellent book. That's the book that the movie was based off of. Very
I
good
think
book.
I've seen it.
Okay, yeah, that was a great book. And actually, one of my guests on my show, a very dear friend of mine, Brian Smiley, he is the head of Heartbeat Productions.
Hmm.
And we text him the night we watched it, and we're like, "Oh my God, that movie was so good." But yeah, loved that book. What else did I like? Oh, so I watched this amazing show, This Is Us, This Is Me by Chrissy Metz. That's the girl that plays Katie, the
Hmm.
daughter of the three on that show. She wrote a really good book too. I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan, and I
Hmm.
read Lauren's book. Lauren is the mom on Gilmore Girls. Her book was very good too. Oh, you know whose book really blew me away? Two books. Sunny Hostin, she wrote her memoir. That was amazing. She went to college at the age of 16. 16. Yeah, crazy. Away to school. Crazy. Because she was just smart like that. She had skipped a grade. Brilliant. That was amazing. Sunny Hostin is one of the hosts of The View, in case anyone doesn't know. And she is a Black Latina. She is amazing. She's an attorney by trade, amazing woman. Her story was amazing. Love her. Second book was Elaine Weltroth. Elaine was the first Black woman to run Teen Vogue magazine. She's no longer there. Now I think she's on Project Runway as a host, as a judge or something. But her book was amazing as well. These are two women that lived, okay? Lived.
Hmm.
Both of them biracial, too, by the way. Very good books. Both of those books, very good. But yeah, that's just a little of the stuff that I've read.
That's really cool. How do you choose the books that you read?
I think because I do so much nonfiction, I think that the author has to jump out at me as somebody that I think is pretty amazing,
Hmm.
or I just have to be curious about their story. I love storytelling, and which is why I do the Ask Dr. Renee show, so I can motivate and inspire you all to live the life you deserve, like me. And if I think your story, like Chrissy Metz, I had heard her tell her story on talk shows, and she would talk about how she only had $35 in her bank account when she got the job and all this stuff. Right, exactly, right? So it's pretty amazing. And I was like, well, I'd like to hear her story. And to hear her story was so amazing. She starts off the book with a meeting with Oprah at Oprah's house. So I was like, but she had
Hmm.
never talked about that. That was in the book. I'm like, wow. But yeah, so then Sunny Hostin, I'll tell you, I heard her on Soledad O'Brien's podcast, and that's how I knew she had a memoir. And I knew that I liked Sunny on The View. I liked her, and I really wanted to just know more about her. And was like, I just never knew the gates were going to be open like that. Her story was just amazing.
Hmm.
Yvonne Orji is she's a Christian like I am. And I knew her story too, especially since Insecure just ended, and she just wept and thanked Isa so profusely. And I'm like, well, I understand this girl gave you, because she really did give her start where, now everyone knows who she is, but there had to be more, and there was. And it was just so
Hmm.
amazing. And she called it Bamboozled by Jesus, because every time she felt like, he wasn't there for her, because she's another one. She might have had negative in the bank. So she didn't have any money in the bank and got the job.
That's crazy.
Right. And so every time she's like, God, why are you doing this to me? And then all of a sudden something amazing would happen.
Hmm.
And I need stories like that to help me keep my faith too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just look for stuff like that. Just like I picked the guests on the show, same way. I'm like, I need something. Oh, you got it. let me share your story with everybody else.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Another celebrity that you met twice is Oprah Winfrey. Can you tell me about that?
So Oprah, and it's so funny you say this, because this past week was Sally Lou's birthday. Sally Lou is the lady that was in charge of audience. I can't remember official title, might be senior audience coordinator or something. She was in charge of the audiences for the Oprah Winfrey show.
Hmm.
And I knew this because I watched the Oprah Winfrey show every day. So I knew that's who she was. So when we went to the show, she came and welcomed everyone. And she said, if you want to talk to Oprah, you need to stand up. As soon as you see it, say after show. So, of course, I heard her say that. I followed directions, and that's how I first got to speak to Oprah. And then Oprah, I told my friends, I go, Oprah is going to take a picture with me. And everyone was like, Renee, Oprah is not taking a picture with you because she said you cannot ask her for pictures. I said, you please don't worry about me and mine. I'm going to have a picture with Oprah. And sure enough, Oprah invited me down, and I'm in the video. I was going to try and bring it up and I forgot. But she had me come down, and I sat there and we just chatted and chatted and chatted. And I was like, oh my God. So then I went to the Oprah Winfrey show every season that I lived in Chicago, except for I missed 2, I think. And then, or I missed 1. I missed 1. And then the finale was 2 episodes. So I made up for it because I went to the finale too at the United Center, which was the very first time Miss Beyonce ever sang Girls Run the World.
Wow.
And we didn't know who all was going to be there. We just knew this is Oprah's finale. So can you imagine? We're all sitting there and all of a sudden we're looking and I go, and it's a free Beyonce concert, right? And little known fact, they had to reshoot that part. So we actually saw her do it twice.
Wow. That's
so the
fun.
first time, I'm clueless, like what's going on. Second time I'm singing, who runs the world? Girl, because then I knew because I done already heard the whole song. Now I know. So it was, yeah. So the second time, so then I actually, was that the day? No, my sister, no, nobody. Oh, my hairdresser was with me at that show the second time. And what happened was I stood up and asked a question and they actually spoke to me during the show. And then I said, could we have another picture? Because I've lost 50 pounds as of this morning and I'd love to have a before and after. And she said, yes. And so the craziest thing is that picture took place after the show. And I was sitting there next to her lovely Andre Wells. And I sat there and she came out in her house. She's like, okay, let's take a picture. And my sister goes, Renee, she was standing there. You were in a hallway, not on camera, and you ain't say nothing. I said, Sissy, I couldn't talk. I couldn't think of a word. Not one. My sister's like, I don't believe you. I was like, I know. The first time I had rehearsed what I was going to say with my sister. So therefore, the second time I had rehearsed again, I said, if I can get her attention, I'm going to ask, can I have before and after? Like I had it all planned, but I didn't know it wasn't going to be on camera. So I didn't have that part planned.
Yeah.
I'm a Virgo, I have to plan. So I didn't have that part planned. Now, what you don't know is I have actually come very close to Oprah. Like she was standing right there at some other events. I couldn't think of nothing logical to say that wasn't going to make me look like a bumbling idiot. So I didn't say anything. My sister was like, well, I guess that's better that you not embarrass yourself. I said, exactly. I didn't say anything. But mark my words, me and Oprah, trust me, maybe I'll have my show on own. Who knows? But me and Oprah. And so the funny thing is that when Oprah came to Detroit and I did not get to speak to her because I just sat there once again, wasn't rehearsed. And my mom's like, Renee, get up. They said, go talk to Oprah. And I was like, I have nothing to say. My mother goes, you better get up and figure it out. So I got up and I'm in line with people and they stopped right at me. And you know what? I wasn't even upset. I go, it wasn't my time. It's okay. And I didn't worry about it. And then lo and behold, I end up sitting next to her. And of course, her photographer, George West, I think is his name. I hope I didn't get the last name wrong, but George is her photographer. He took our picture and George mailed me the picture and he took the second one too. And he mailed me that too. So I have 2 pictures that, don't laugh, are not in frames of me and Oprah. My parents don't even have the picture up. Like it's awful. We're terrible. But yeah, I have 2 pictures. And so it's funny that first time happened because the second time was so huge. It was on TV. I have the video. I have the video myself. I uploaded it to my YouTube. Years later, OWN uploaded it to their YouTube. It has thousands of views. It's got
Mhm.
lots of comments. Some people were real nasty to me, which, thankfully I'm not somebody that's bothered by that. As a matter of fact, I went through and commented. I replied because it's the kind of person I am. And but but yeah, it's so crazy. My video is up there on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know that your asthma also helped you meet an R&B artist, John B. Can you tell me about that?
So no, it didn't help me meet him. My client was performing with him. So he was
Mhm.
the band for him, and then his band opened for John B. So while they were performing, and I had been sick all week, and I was like, I had texted him, and he said, "Well, don't come." I go, "No, no, no, I'm coming. John B's gonna sing my song, and I gotta be there. I'm coming." He's like,
Mhm.
"Okay." And so I came, and that was the first time I'd been out of my house in like that whole week. And I
Mhm.
went and I was fine. And then all of a sudden I had this coughing spell and I couldn't stop coughing. And I went to the security man and was like, "Is there someplace I can sit?" And he was like looking at me like, "No." And I'm because it was a standing room thing, but I'm just like, he needed to find me a chair. And he just didn't understand. So I just went back to the green room. And John looked at me, was like, "Dr. Renee, why are you back down here?" And I go, "I can't stop coughing. I have asthma and I was sick this week, but I feel like I'm better." But he goes, "Oh my goodness." He had somebody he knew that had asthma. He goes, "You need water." And he mind you, his handlers were around. No, he goes, "Let me go get you some water." I'm like, "Okay, have a seat." I sat down and the man starts bringing me water. "Where's your inhaler?" Got my inhaler. It was so funny. So when my clients came down, they're like, "What are you doing down here already?" And I was like, John's like, "She was about to die." And so I said, "He just saved my life." They were like, "Are you okay? Do you need to go home?" And I'm like, "No, no, I'm fine. I'm fine." And I was able to see John B's concert. But I mean, I had already been talking to him before, we had already been chatting before the show. So, but he was really nice. And I need to I need to get him a book. I know how I can do it. I just need to make it happen. But
Mhm.
yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, that sounds really sweet.
It was so nice. I was just so shocked. Like, oh my God, it was people in the room. This man was like, "No, you need water," and goes and gets. I was just like, he didn't have to do that. I called my mom, my sister. My mom wasn't so familiar with who he was, but of course my sister knew. I said, "Lish, John B saved my life." My sister's like, "Oh God," because there's another story where, and it wasn't asthma related, but I had walked out of a bathroom and my skirt was stuck in my tights, and and then I fell down the steps. It was a hot mess. And my sister was like, I go, "Guess who helped me?" And she goes, "MC Light, because she walked out of the bathroom right before you did." And I was like, "No, right after you did." And I was like, "How'd you know?" She's like, "You always got to embarrass me." I'm like, "Sorry, Mom, sorry." So when the John B thing, she goes, "Not again."
Yeah. Thank you so much for this. This has been so enlightening. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, this was fabulous. Everyone, please go subscribe to her blog and check it out. And hopefully this will help her to start doing some more video, and I can help her with that because video is king these days. But yes, please everyone go subscribe to her blog. If you have not already, you should subscribe to my channel. And because this is obviously not just on YouTube, this is on Facebook too. But please subscribe to my YouTube channel because YouTube they like me enough that they do throw me a check every now and again. So if you could please subscribe to my channel, and you guys, it's really, really, really important that you hit the thumbs up, that you write a comment. I don't care if your comment is, "Hey, Dr. Renee," write a comment and share, share, share. And that will encourage me to bring you more episodes and more amazing friends of mine. Okay? Hope that's a good deal. But that was it, and that was all. Thank you, Elena. This was amazing. So much fun. I love that I got interviewed instead of me having to do all of the asking of questions.
Thank you so much for this. This is also kind of different for me too, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, you did a great job. I must say, I think everyone will agree that you did a fabulous job. You were wonderful. Your sound is great. Your lighting's great. You look fabulous. And girl, that's half of the trouble when I'm doing my show is that we get folks that don't have the right, that, can't see them, can't hear them. So you killed that. So, and great questions. I mean, I loved the questions. You guys, the way we started this was she sent me the questions to put on her blog. And I was like, why don't we just do video? Because the questions were so good. And I was like, this would be a great interview. So that's how we got here. But thank you so much. And everyone, please like, subscribe, and comment. And I will see you next time on the Ask Dr. Renee Show.